One of the first and most important things to remember when you're installing overhead irrigation, like a spray head or an MP rotator, is ensuring that you have head-to-head coverage, spraying all the way to the base of the adjacent head. Head-to-head coverage is necessary regardless of the sprinkler type you're using. This spacing will allow sprinklers to overlap their throw to assure even water distribution. A sprinkler should be spaced so that it will spray both the head next to it and the head across from it. In other words, one sprinkler must be placed so that it will spray another sprinkler, or 50% of the adjusted diameter. This provides for complete coverage and prevents dry spots. For the next few minutes, we're going to discuss the proper installation method of a pop-up style sprinkler body with either an MP rotator or Pro Spray nozzle. When installing, here are a few things you will need. A 100-foot tape, marker paint or marker flags, a shovel, PVC fittings, swing joints, sprinkler bodies, and nozzles. If you're working from a set of plans on a project, chances are the installation location and type of sprinklers will be designated on those plans. For the purpose of this video, we'll go over the concepts and different options and techniques you might choose when on a site. Spray heads are commonly used for areas between 5 and 17 feet, while MP rotators are typically used in areas between 6 and 35 feet. Both types of nozzles can be installed on a shrub riser attachment or a pop-up spray body. Single-stream rotor sprinklers can be used in areas with spacing as low as 15 feet, all the way up to larger areas with spacing in the 40 and 50-foot range. There are rotor sprinklers with even longer ranges as well. Regardless of which type of sprinkler you use, it's important to have head-to-head coverage. Head-to-head coverage is a term used to describe even coverage between sprinkler heads, where one head throws water all the way to the next head and vice versa. This is important to achieve the best possible distribution uniformity, or DU. To accomplish head-to-head coverage, you'll start in the corners of the area that you would like to irrigate. When determining where your heads are going to go, you should have marker paint or irrigation marker flags to help identify the locations for the heads. As you're determining where the head should go, place a flag or mark with some paint. This will help in measuring out the head spacing. In some cases, there are no defined corners, so it's important to start in the areas with the shortest limiting factor. After you've placed marker flags for the heads in all of the corners, you'll need to fill in the spaces between them with 180-degree or half nozzles. Identify those locations and do this until you have head-to-head coverage from the corners to the halves. You may also need to add full circle sprinklers depending on the area. Your limiting factor in sprinkler distance throw will be the smaller of the two measurements, length versus width in a zone area. For example, if you were irrigating a rectangular area, the shorter end of the rectangle would be your limiting factor, and therefore the shorter end would indicate the distance that you would need to throw and space the heads. Using your 100-foot tape measure, place the end at one of the corners of the landscape area to be irrigated and measure the width and length. In this case, the width is 25 feet and the length is 70 feet. For this larger area, installing rotors would be a good choice. Using your determined radius of 25 feet, measure from that corner area to your determined even head spacing distance along the edge of the landscape area. In this case, you would place flags or mark every 25 feet from the corner head until you reach another corner head. In some cases, including this example, the spacing won't work out perfectly. If this happens, adjust the sprinkler spacing or reduce the radius to eliminate overspray on any hardscapes or structures. Continue this process for all the perimeter areas. If there are areas within the zone that still do not have head-to-head coverage, for instance, if the area is irregularly shaped and opens to a larger area at some point, the next step would be to add 360-degree or full circle heads to the middle of the landscape area. The spacing of these sprinklers will be determined by the midpoint between the two adjacent sprinklers. Based on the size of the area in this example, and the quantity of heads needed to achieve head-to-head coverage, the flow required exceeded the maximum flow available. In this case, the area was split into multiple zones. Once you've determined that you have good head-to-head coverage and the piping is in the ground, it is time to start installing the heads. Now that you've determined and marked where each head will be located, it's time to start installing the heads in the ground. It is highly recommended that you install a swing joint device, either Flex SG tubing and Hunter spiral barb elbows, or a prefabricated swing joint with each sprinkler body. A swing joint will help to prevent breaks in the pipe or fittings and give you the flexibility of precisely locating the sprinkler heads. When installing rotors like the I-20 or PGP, it is common to have larger bottom inlets compared to sprays because the nozzle selections offer much wider range of flow. Be cautious when selecting the swing joints you will install with your rotors. With nozzles under 4 gallons per minute or 15 liters per minute, the Hunter SJ706 will work fine with its half-inch tubing, but with nozzles over 4 gallons per minute or 15 liters per minute, you should select the more robust HSJ Hunter swing joint, which comes in 3/4 inch, 1 inch, 1 1/4 inch, and 1 1/2 inch models. Begin by attaching the sprinkler to the swing joint and the fitting you'll be installing on the lateral line. Now, in your trench, connect the assembly to the lateral line. A best practice is to have the fitting pointing up as shown here for easy maintenance in the future. If you are using Flex SG tubing, the process is similar. Measure out the length of tubing you will need to make your connection and cut it to your desired length. Then screw in the spiral barb or HSBE fitting into the end of the cut tubing by pressing firmly while rotating the fitting clockwise into the Flex SG tubing. Now, attach the HSBE fitting to the PVC fitting that you'll be installing on the lateral line. Insert the second HSBE fitting into the cut end of the tubing and attach the sprinkler body. Repeat this process for all of the heads except for the last one on the lateral run. Leave the last head off at the termination point of each section of the lateral line for proper flushing. The gray or blue cap that comes pre-installed on all of our Hunter Pro Spray bodies is not a nozzle, but a directional flush plug with a ring that you can grab to pull the riser up out of the body. This is designed to be able to flush your system after installation. The flush cap is designed with a directional output to keep water in the irrigated area and off the home and surrounding structures during flushing. It's also important to flush without a head on to get any of the larger debris that might not pass through the orifice of the flush cap. And that's why you want to leave the last head off the termination point of each section of the lateral line. Turn the zone on manually from the valve and allow water to flush out any dirt which may have entered the system during installation. After installing each of the sprinklers on the zone, make sure the flush caps are adjusted to spray towards the landscape. Flush the system, even if you're sure nothing got in during installation. While the zone is flushing, inspect each sprinkler to ensure that there is no leaking from the joints or threads at the PVC connections. Once you have ensured that there are no leaks and the heads have been installed properly, it is time to begin backfilling at the sprinkler. While backfilling, ensure the head is vertical with no tilt and the top of the head is flush with grade or at the top of the soil backfill area. Add soil in layers and compact around the heads to ensure the head is sturdy and that all of the dirt will fit back into the trench area. Now that the zone is flushed and the heads are backfilled and properly set, it is time to install the MP rotators or Pro Spray nozzles on the bodies, or select and insert the nozzles into the rotors. Using the tab on the flush cap, pull the riser up, remove the flush cap, and install the MP rotator or Pro Spray nozzle with a screen. For rotors, use the Hunter wrench inserted in the pull-up socket to pull up the riser for nozzle insertion. There is an available tool that can be used to hold the riser up and make this task easier. Once all of the nozzles are installed in the heads, it's important to adjust the arc or degrees of coverage and radius or distance of throw, fine-tuning them to ensure that there is no overspray and that there is proper coverage of the irrigation zone head-to-head coverage. If you're installing Pro Spray adjustable nozzles, the fixed edge of the nozzle is along the right edge of the landscape area and adjustment opens to the left. If you are installing an MP rotator, the fixed edge is along the left edge of the landscaped area and the adjustment opens to the right. Hunter rotors all have a fixed right stop, so adjustment opens to the left. If the fixed edge of the spray nozzle or MP rotator is out of alignment, grab the riser in the up position and then ratchet it to the left or the right edge depending on what nozzle or sprinkler you are using. For Hunter rotors, you may be able to turn the whole sprinkler body assembly to the desired position. In some cases, you may need to unscrew the body cap and realign the riser and the body to accomplish this. Now you can turn on the zone and adjust each sprinkler's arc and radius. Use the MP rotator tool or your fingers to adjust the arc on the MP rotator. Use your fingers to adjust the arc on the Pro Spray adjustable nozzles. And use the Hunter wrench to adjust the arc on Hunter rotors. If any sprinklers need radius adjustment, you can decrease the radius by using the radius adjustment screw on spray nozzles and the MP rotator, or the nozzle retainer radius adjustment screw on rotors. This will help to ensure proper head-to-head coverage along each edge and throughout the center of the landscape areas and minimize overspray. All sprinklers are designed to operate most efficiently at factory adjusted settings. Adjusting the radius of flow for any sprinkler may reduce its efficiency. Achieving proper head-to-head coverage involves getting a few measurements of the zone and doing a little math. Taking throw distance data from the nozzles you intend to use and working out the overlap for optimal uniformity. Sometimes sketching the zone out and writing down the measurements is a good way to help visualize how many head locations you will need. Follow this by marking the head locations and then installing the bodies, ideally with a swing joint, and then flushing the line for removal of any debris. Then, install the nozzles and turn on the zone. While the zone is running, make any final adjustments to the radius and arc settings to ensure you have head-to-head coverage and eliminate overspray outside of the landscape area. All sites are different, but the process will be the same. By following the steps we've identified in this video, you will achieve proper head-to-head coverage and your customers will be thankful for the beautiful landscape for years of enjoyment.